Hey everyone, welcome to Ink Scribes, the comics podcast where we discuss the art and craft of comics. I'm Colin Singh. I'm an aspiring comics artist, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Eric Zawadzki, the artist on the critically acclaimed Assorted Crisis events from Image Comics, and Taylor Stauft, creator of Luke Zenith and Scorpio Gold. Today, a very special episode where we're going to continue our look at the comics career of Mike Mignola. Today, we're going to be looking at the earliest sequential work at Marvel Comics.
Yeah, it's his early years. It's his pre Cosmic Odyssey years, I think, which will come back, and I hope we do a series on. I mean, we kind of have to, but this is really Mignola trying to find out who is he, what is his style, where is he going to go, because while he has been an inker and eventually a penciler, he is not yet a writer, and he's he's still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, we're all huge Mike Mignola fans, and
That we are.
I think we all discovered Mike Mignola with Hellboy, right? So is it
Oh,
all
yeah.
this
Yeah,
stuff that
Hellboy.
we're talking about today? Was this all new for you guys?
It's like I knew of it. I had heard about it, but yeah, I hadn't read it before.
Yeah, all this stuff was new to me.
I think because my dad read Hulk, the Hulk issue, I didn't even know it was by him, but like now I can remember like reading it as a kid. But outside of that, I didn't know it was Mike Mignola. Like Hellboy is the thing that introduced me to him. But
Yeah.
no, I hadn't read anything else of these. These are all like I had no idea of his run on Hulk like being a thing. Like he did multiple issues of Hulk. So
Yeah, so this stuff is like almost unrecognizable from the Mike Mignola that we love, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
It's I wouldn't I don't know about unrecognizable, but it's definitely because there's little things that he'll continue to put in, little
Yeah,
uh, rendering lines and stuff. But yeah, it's so different because of he's pretty fresh out of art school at this point. He's graduated from California College of the Arts, and he's broken into Marvel in the late 70s through inking, and but by this point, Marvel Fanfare.
yeah. He says that his inking career kind of flamed out,
Ooh,
and
and
part of that
like
was
almost crashed and burned first time out.
yeah, because he temporarily moved to New York, and it's a lot easier to work at Marvel Comics when you live in New York. And then I guess he moved back to California, and then that's when his penciling career took off, I suppose.
Yeah, that's when editors suggested that he start taking more of an active role in the creation of comics. His
Yeah, Al
first,
Milgrom specifically, because if we
yeah,
go to the inside front cover to every Marvel Fanfare comic, that's Al Milgrom, right?
is that who that's supposed to be? Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I thought it was
Yeah,
Art
because Al
Spiegelman.
Milgrom was an editor and inker, and right here we can see he was an illustrator as well.
Back in the good old days when upper echelons of companies were staffed by people who had known the business rather than got an
Yeah,
MBA in marketing or whatever.
that's wild that there were editors that knew how to draw at one point
Yeah.
at Marvel and DC.
I
This
mean, the
is
head
unheard of today.
of DC for the longest time, Dick Giordano, was he was the head of Charlton, and then like senior vice president, and he had been an inker and a penciler.
Yeah, and I
So
guess Joe Quesada and Jim Lee were the last of an example of that, I suppose. Like each of
yeah,
those guys
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they know
being upper management, but also artists.
and yeah, just like yeah, because you'd know the reality of actually producing this work. But he was eventually convinced after he returned back to California, his home state, and starts penciling. According to him, his first outing as as an inker had been, I do want to get this story in, had been a disaster. It was for Defenders 116. There's like 5 pages in it that he did.
And it was
And
published?
yeah, yeah.
Oh.
And I can't remember, it was somebody in
The
the art
secretary, I
department.
think.
Yeah. Said like, you got to up your game, man, because this ain't going to cut it. Like, if this is your portfolio, you ain't getting another gig. So you got to get it together. And he hates it. But he eventually becomes a penciler and then inker, because we can see here he's just listed as artist for this very first.
Yeah, so I think that Al Milgram saw his portfolio of pinups basically, because he wanted to be like the guys in the studio, like
Yeah.
Mike Caluto, Barry Windsor Smith. He wanted to be Frank Frazetta. He
Frank,
followed a
yeah.
lot of painters, and so I think like Al Milgram recognizing like the quality pinups that he did, basically said, "Well, you can draw. Why don't you give penciling a try?" And I guess this is the result of it. And I mean, you can see with this first page, like this is, you can see what Al Milgram was seeing there, right?
Yeah, you can see what he's seeing. You can also see
I mean, that's really good.
heavy.
Like,
You can, and yeah, especially like the storytelling, like leading your eye around, right? Like, come down here, come across here, down through here. Like, this is a skill that I feel like is undersold when it comes to people who say, I want to be a comic book artist. What do I got to know? You got to know how to direct people, like how to
yeah.
show them where to go. Because there are people like my mom, love you, mom, but she has the hardest time just following a comic book page just because like she's not particularly used to it.
Yeah, I had a roommate once who I threw a comic in front of her, and she was just baffled.
Yeah.
And she was a highly intelligent person too. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it is a language, but it's easier if you have somebody kind of leading you through that language as well. But it's and I think you can see, a lot of the atmospheric stuff, this sort
Yeah,
of thing is going to
yeah.
be coming into his work. Like, that's a staple from the beginning and remains. Like, it is a standout characteristic of his backgrounds of just like blotches of shadow and then just lines coming out of it.
So I like with this first page, there's a thick black border around the panel, and then and you see Nemours like breaking through the thick the panel and the thick black border, and you see that like ornate quality kind of like at the top sort of seeping into it. But
Yeah,
then
all
he
that
keeps
filigree.
that thick, yeah, he keeps the thick black border throughout the entire story,
Mm-hmm.
and it just makes it look so much more interesting. And I suspect like this was his first gig, and he was there to impress, right?
Yeah.
If we flip through this entire comic, like these are interesting page designs. These aren't your standard like grids, right?
No, they're not. And that's something that's it's interesting to see how he'll go. It seems almost like there's a difference between the oversight or control that he had over each one. Because this does feel, it's not exactly like a Hellboy book, but it feels closer to what you would see. But I think later on we'll see like more others that are just like, this is just kind of a standard grid. It's 3 levels.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of following a basic grid to snap to, and it's not as interesting, which, sometimes especially in the shooter era, that's kind of part of it. That's an
We
editorial
should say
edict.
the Jim Shooter era. Editor in chief Jim Shooter had a very heavy hand at Marvel around this time.
He really, really did. Yes,
Mm.
he he was not. His whole ethos was every comic is somebody's first comic, so you better make it new reader friendly. Which I don't know. I don't know that I would call this new reader friendly, but it
Oh
certainly
well,
is a lot
anybody
more
could read
dynamic.
this Nemours story, right?
Yeah, but it's certainly more dynamic. which, well, like character wise, but in terms of like if this is the first thing you're reading, you're going to expect other comics to look like this, and then that's not what happens.
Well, I mean, around this time he was trying to be a mainstream guy,
Yeah.
and he's just not. Like
No.
innately, he's not a mainstream guy, and it is funny because like later on in his career, as he starts to come into his own and get more comfortable and get away from his mainstream sensibilities, he gets more resistance from editors. But you know, he becomes the artist that we love.
Yeah.
But you know, he's just like he's just not comfortable. That's something he said he maintains is like this era, he's just not comfortable with it.
No, he's not comfortable with like regular everyday life or the human figure. Like he can do it. Obviously, he can do it. He thinks he's not particularly good at the female form, which I don't buy. Actually, I think
Yeah, we'll see in the next comic, right?
yeah, but like, and you know, I think he's a lot more. I think he's a lot better than people would think. Like, hands up, how many of you have tried to draw a horse and just thought, "Fuck this, I'm gonna get rid of this horse," because holy shit, are they difficult to draw?
Yeah, I'd imagine he hated drawing. If I were to guess, like there's a lot of things he doesn't want to draw. He probably hated drawing this horse, but he does a great job, doesn't he?
Yeah, look at this. Look at this horse.
You know, the overall aesthetic that he's producing here is like it reminds me of those ink drawing illustrations, like in Moby Dick.
Yeah, like the it's like what is that called? It's like a wood press, wood block, scratch board,
Yeah,
something.
scratchboard, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
like even like the horse and stuff. I can just see in my head like he's seen those illustrations and like those really old timey publications of like of even Frankenstein or whatever. Like
Yeah.
just that kind of stippled look, and even the water and everything, like just the inking that he's doing. It just reminds me of that. That's what I keep going back to. And plus, each one's squared out, even though he breaks panel borders and stuff. Like just those can be inset over like prose, right?
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's you know what it actually reminds me of is the work of Gary Gianni, which watch out in the upcoming year. We're gonna do
Mm.
something on him. Because it's a he kind of hews closer to that. But yeah, I see what you mean. Like it's all about like tone.
Yeah.
He's very focused on tone throughout these early works. Going forward, he'll realize, and I think it's what a lot of us are drawn to, his use of just heavy blacks. Like if something is in shadow, it's not. There's no gradation to that. Like the
Yeah.
darkness calls and drinks up a figure.
Yeah. So that's interesting. This being his first work, and there being so much spot black on the page, so much darkness. It's here at the very beginning.
Yeah,
It's just a part of who he is.
but he's also. It does feel like he's kind of capitulating or hewing closer to a style of the time, like a kind of all right. Well, the house style is kind of, especially at Marvel, is very. I think of it as very George Perez at this point,
Right. Yeah.
and it's like okay, well, I gotta kind of look like that too, because this is a house book, right? Marvel Fanfare. It's just a short story featuring one of their oldest characters.
Mm.
It can't be completely Mignola, but then on the other hand, we also get like, look how fucking rad this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some nice stuff in this one.
Right? Like this is I can see I don't know, Hellboy lost in the sea and some kind of like titan chortling at him from the sky.
Yeah. So the majority of the comics we're going to look at today were written by Bill Mantlo. Pretty much all of them except one. And I think Bill Mantlo set Mignola up for success with shots like that.
Yeah.
On like
Yeah.
every other page, there's an amazing shot. So, yeah, he I guess Bill Mantlo, for the most part, knows how to work with artists. to varying degrees of success, which we'll get into later in the episode. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, you guys see what I'm talking about, right? Like this,
Yeah.
he's Mignola looks like he was having a lot of fun doing this. This
And
seems like it's in his wheelhouse too, right?
it does, yeah, because it's monsters, right? Like there's monsters, there's storms, there's like this thing. It doesn't need to look like this. Feels very sea monster esque compared to like
Yeah.
what would a seahorse actually look like? I mean, it's that shaped, but it's not necessarily this. And yeah, just like the use of tempests and like this, you can see this feels like, okay, if he had his way, it would all be everything that has been shadowed or hatched would probably be sunken into the blacks.
You know, I do want to quickly say though the story of how a horse gets reincarnated as a giant seahorse that Namor can ride. But like that's kind of okay, weird, but all right,
Yeah,
I'll take it.
it feels very like this is how seahorses were created.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Like,
that's the mythical stories are like that, right? Which
is what they're going for. It's
But
just
as I'm
strange
reading
that
it, like
like
I'm like taking in the artwork. I'm like, no, I'm getting Bernie Wrightson. I'm just thinking of stuff that I can comment on for the art. But then I'm like, the story's going, and I'm like, what?
yeah.
Like, how many pages is left? Two. What is he gonna do? Like,
Yeah, he saved a horse, and the horse's reward is eternal enslavement for this seemingly unkillable sea god. It's it's so
exactly that.
strange. Yeah, this is something that he will return to a lot, though. I feel, especially in the Hellboy
Yeah.
era, is just this like, let me pronounce something to you. It feels very Odin, very
yeah.
Also,
that
like figures standing in a mist or like darkness, kind of tapering off their legs.
yeah,
Like
Yeah, very atmospheric.
that's token Mignola.
yeah. And then we got, ooh, yeah. How about that, huh? Kind of a sorcerer supreme vibe that he's got. Because why would you wear a cape underwater? You're just asking for it to get wrapped around you.
This is I mean, he idolized all these painters, and he wanted to be like them, and so this kind of shows off like
The composition.
yeah. And something I'm going to talk about a lot in this episode is the just layers of information, because on this piece right here you've got the you've got three basic layers of information, but then even behind those fish in the further away you have something in the far background.
Yeah, you got the seahorses as a reminder of what this is about. You've got a skull down here that doesn't fall into this at all, but there is something to the idea of like this symbolist painting design of death is at the bottom of the sea, the horse has transformed, sort of parable that's been going that you've just read.
Yeah, and he's clearly working with pen and ink, and then I guess a colorist came in and added the color, but like you can see he's trying to get that atmosphere that a painter would build up with color with those parallel lines in the background.
What, all these? Yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting look. Mignola 83. Yeah, so he's been working for only a couple years at this point.
But that
Which
was his first penciling gig.
yeah.
Well, even though he penciled and inked it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to know. He doesn't go into it as much, but just kind of like the inking thing was kind of a whatever. Like he's raised by a single dad with two brothers. It's a very workaday, blue collar place that he comes from, and it's almost like he went into comics with this, bricklayer attitude of I do I show up to the site and I do the job. It just so happens that the site is a Namor comic. Oh, look, another Namor comic. Okay, yeah, like I've done this before. I know what I'm going to do and just adjust from there, but it's not it's not like a love in the way that I think it actually grows to be for him.
Yeah, I think he frequently says he doesn't know how to do anything else, so he just wanted to work in comics somehow,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess he figured penciling comics was too hard, so inking, that sounds like an easy gig. And then
Like
his thought was, uh, what Terry Austin was doing covers. Terry Austin was the biggest inker in all of comics at that point, and he was doing covers. So maybe Mike Mignola as an inker can get a job doing covers.
yeah,
And also maybe one day he can do a short 10-page story, and then he could die happy.
yeah,
But
and then it just in his most recent release, Bowling with the Dead, he has an
Bowling
essay
for
in the back.
Corpses or Bowling with Corpses.
Bowling with Corpses. Thank you. Yes, he talks about how after the end of Hellboy and because he finishes Hellboy, the whole story is really wrapped up in BPRD, which he returns to the final issue for. Like the back half of it is him, and he's kind of surprised that during the pandemic he missed drawing comics, and so his new releases are just him kind of rediscovering, yeah, I like drawing. I like telling stories with monsters and skeletons and weird little guys, weird little fables. So he's kind of come back around full circle.
Hmm.
Which, yeah, if you
Which
guys
is very
can,
cool, yeah.
I really do recommend his latest work. But until we move to that point,
That's gonna be a series of books from from Lands Unknown, is it?
I think that's what it's being called. It's kind of like a retroactive name, I think. His original intent was just, I'm going to put out this hardcover that is these short stories, and then discovering just how much it really did for him, he thought, "Oh, I could just keep going." And at this point, is Dark Horse going to turn him down? Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it sells.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I bought it as soon as I could.
yeah. Yeah. So this is interesting because this is another Namor story.
Printed 4 years later.
Yeah. So the funny thing with Marvel Fanfare is we never know when this stuff was created.
No.
Like, and there's very inconvenient for us. There's no year written on
No.
the under his signature this time.
No. It's
But looking at the stuff and reading all these other comics, where do you think in his development this story was placed?
I feel like this has to be actually later, just because it is so different in terms of his style. But there's stuff that we will see that is still kind of related to the previous Namor stuff. So I don't know. It feels kind of like a few years later. It's if not 83, but like 86. He still hasn't hit Cosmic Odyssey, but he might be prepping for that because Cosmic Odyssey takes him a year to draw. It's long. It's a lot of work, and he the influence of Kirby is very apparent. I think, which we won't see this episode.
Yeah,
But
because
later.
around this time he wasn't looking at Kirby at all. Like,
No,
he was looking at
he
all the
thought it was
painters.
dumb. He thought Kirby was stupid.
And
It's
later
like,
on, he realized how wrong he
what's
was.
with
Right?
the hands always coming out? Why is everything just so big and bombastic? Like, why is it this? And then, which I kind of get, like his personality in the great doc that was done about him, drawing monsters. Everybody in his life that knew him before comics describes him as just like a real quiet kid who was not. They don't describe him as lonely, but he definitely wasn't a huge people person.
Mm.
And I get why kind of a more sedate person would kind of find the bombast of Kirby's storytelling to be a bit like that's a bit much. But as we know, Kirby is not just how he tells a story. He's all kinds of things, and I think he takes what he can and leaves what he doesn't want.
Right.
But for now, time after time.
Well, and this is interesting because it's embellished by, it says embellisher P. Craig Russell, which I guess that says that these were very rough pencils
I could see that,
that
yeah.
Mignola handed in.
Yeah.
Which,
Which comes
again,
up
like,
later.
we don't know the Marvel Fanfare chronology. We don't know like how early or late this was published, or we know it was published like when, probably when he was at DC at that point, because he had
Yeah,
left
this is
Marvel.
listed as April 1989, so it would have hit like December, probably December 88, January 89.
I mean, I'm just wondering if the rough pencils were just lying around and they eventually just gave it to Pete Craig Russell, because his Pete Craig Russell collaboration didn't happen until like the late 80s, I feel like.
Yeah.
Or mid to late 80s, which we're stuck in at this point in his chronology. We're in the early 80s.
Yeah, it's late 80s and then a lot in the early 90s, pre Hellboy.
Yeah, so it's conceivable that the pages were lying around for a bit.
Yeah.
This story is a real beauty, though. Like overall, you can
It
start to
is,
see his
yeah.
floating space figures, like becoming
Yeah,
unmistakably
framed really
distinct.
well.
Yeah, P. Craig Russell, though, I wish they did more stuff together, because I think outside of him inking himself, P. Craig's like
He's the one
perfect Mignola inker.
to do it with him, because their sensibilities really go together and they kind of balance each other out. Because look at this, like this feels like something he will take, or well, actually, I shouldn't say that. This might be something that is already on the pencils. This kind of like, okay, we're going to gradate things,
Yeah.
but he is also definitely putting in like, here's lines cut into the blacks.
The way he communicates the horizon line clouds and everything, you're going to start to see that more and more in his career too. A lot of these shapes that he's communicating are unmistakably his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something I did notice though, throughout reading all of these, was a lack of camera tilt, for lack of a better term.
I guess he likes that.
It's like just straight on.
Straight on view.
Yeah, it's an interesting
absence. Which he likes symmetrical compositions, right? So,
well, certainly balanced compositions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's this, which is great, and it kind of like ties into this, and
I mean, yeah, there you go. So you're saying that last panel on that first page is an outlier?
Not an outlier necessarily, but
because it is a tilted composition, and same thing with the mirrored panel on the other page.
Well, so what I mean, when I say camera angle, actually, I mean like up or down, right? So it's not like he's known for doing like overhead shots or low angle shots.
I think there is a story where Rob Liefeld did the layouts for that X-Force issue, and if I'm remembering correctly, Mignola specifically requested no overhead angles, no like sort of worms or bird's eye view or overhead shots, and so Liefeld didn't give him any, because I guess he just really doesn't like drawing those kinds of shots.
Yeah, it's a much more quiet way to tell a story, I think, because then you can also get things like he is more in charge of putting the figure into the space, right? And I think that's what you see here, right? Like you could have kind of everything tangled, but it's like your view is straight on. It is Namor who is tilted, canted, and akimbo here.
Yeah.
So he gets to control that through figure work rather than like figuring out where are we, especially and I mean that's probably best for underwater. Like there's nothing to really orient you as much as say on land, but
Well, and also it's important for the storytelling of this
Yeah, to be
particular
dragged down
moment
into
because
this black
yeah,
area.
like this story is, I guess he's pulled into some sort of void, and it,
Time void.
yeah. So something I'm going to bring up constantly is the layers of information. Like if you go back to the previous page, that first panel, uh,
The
again the background, midground, foreground elements,
yeah.
and I love the atmosphere of that ship where it's
Mhm.
just sort of like faintly put in there, and but you could still get the shape,
Yeah.
and yeah, he does this a lot with like, hiding feet or whatever, and a lot of that is I don't necessarily see as like running away from drawing feet. I see it as like creating atmosphere, creating depth, and making things feel more mythical. But I mean, going back to the foreground, midground, background, and just the layers and layers of information. If you turn the page again, I love the clouds upon clouds.
Yeah.
Like you have uh, apparently there's like different names for different types of clouds,
Yes,
like
there are.
nimbus clouds,
Yes.
and I don't know what they're all, but like you have the various clouds here, and like because you have like three layers of clouds, it creates a really atmospheric composition with a lot of depth, and it's just a damn good looking page.
Hmm.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
cumulus clouds. Just see though,
Sorry.
cumulus clouds. Those are what those ones are.
All
Oh,
right.
do we have three different types of
Yeah,
clouds
there's
here
and then
though? Or?
Cirrus and Stratus.
Oh,
Okay.
look at Colin dropping the knowledge.
Yeah. Dang. Uh, I do too like the well, yeah, and it's like it's used to frame what's going on, right? This like we
Yeah.
just saw the ship. Okay, well here is a ship. And you're right, he kind of like he already lays it down because you can see here the holes in the sails. And so he's already connecting when you get to this panel, there's holes in these sails, right?
Oh, I didn't catch that. Yeah,
Yeah.
good call. That's something you pick up on a second read, I guess,
I
because of
think
the
so,
twist
yeah.
ending.
Yeah, because you feel it, and you're going back with because the thing about reading these things is you read them once, like, all right, what's going on here, so that when you go back, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I gotta pull all this out. Um, it's difficult. I find it difficult to depict high seas action, I guess you would call it. But
Yeah.
because like, look at all this bullshit that you gotta draw.
Well, especially on that next page when there's an actual fight between two different uh,
Yeah,
armies or two different ship crews.
yeah. But here is where I will say I think he's a lot better at drawing the female form than he thinks he is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, most artists are Well, I don't know if most artists are self-deprecating, but very down on their older work. Every artist is down on their older work, right? So
yeah, but
you almost can't trust people, I guess, when they
that's
talk about their
true.
older work.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's definitely something that he was like, this isn't as good as I would like it. Like he must have something in his head for what a woman should
Oh
look
yeah.
like, and he just can't get to that. But when it comes to, say, the Hulk, he's a lot more forgiving of that general shape of subject.
Well, and it is more forgiving because he's supposed to be brutish, and like if you make the Hulk like slightly uglier than you intended, then that's you can get away with that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
But
this is a great design. This character, isn't it?
she is, yeah. She looks, yeah, pirate queen, great.
Uh, I love all the extra stuff he adds, the little props. She's got like four different weapons on her. She's got like
Which,
aspects of her costume that are billowing in the wind. Like there's just so much to this design that works. She's got a
yeah,
jacket on top of a jacket. It's just
yeah,
very cool looking.
yeah.
yeah,
Which
with like the scarf tied around her waist, and yeah, yeah. This is set in a time too when yeah, you would have to have a bunch of stuff strapped to you. Like a lot of pirates would have, like you just have a bunch of guns strapped to you because they're each one shot. So you'd fire and then drop it,
Right.
or beat somebody over the head with it. But if you want to shoot again, you got to get a whole other gun.
Oh, I think I miscounted. There's 5 weapons. It's,
Oh yeah, because she's got like
good
2
detail.
blades, 3 blades in her belt, and then 1 in her hand, and then the gun. Yeah.
And I brought up in our last episode the cleavage, which has
Yeah.
been miscolored, probably due to editorial request, but like clearly that was intended to be flesh, right?
Yeah.
That shirt.
I think so. Yeah.
I think. Didn't you also say the legs were supposed to be bare, and it looks like he's jerking?
Well, based on the cover,
Can
it
you go to
looked
that?
like
Yeah,
it.
can you go to that image?
But on the interiors, it's definitely pants.
Yeah. This makes it look like, although that should be
Skin color, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skin toned, but then here he's definitely putting wrinkles and
Yeah.
It is possible that the
folds.
embellisher embellished pants onto her.
That's true. Yeah.
via
Just like,
request
ugh.
from-
Yeah. Because later, because you can even see here,
like.
like, that looks to be like,
Oh, yeah,
she
that's
should
not a
be,
shirt.
she should
Yeah.
be way less covered than she is. But I mean,
And
this is
Mignola's
also
not a boob sock guy, right? So
no. I would hope
this
not.
is one of Taylor's favorite things
I
to
absolutely-
point out when an
I
artist
absolutely
is.
hate boob socks.
You
Like,
hate
just
boob
observe
socks, really?
the world around you.
And like Mignola's definitely not that. So like clearly this was intended to be cleavage.
I
right?
think so. Yeah, but
Leave the boob socks alone. Leave it alone.
It's a part of mine and Colin's childhood to have characters with boob socks. So
the only time I've ever seen that actually executed in costuming has been 7 of 9 on Star Trek Voyager. They specifically built out
Yeah.
in the
That's when
costume.
they started using real ribbing, like the ribbings on superhero costumes. Yeah,
That's right.
That's where they started.
Yeah, that's right. Like the corset underneath.
Yeah.
But we get like great design for Namor, Pirate King Namor, and I love this atmosphere here too. Yeah, like the different types of clouds. Because I think, is this a stratus cloud, and then this is more of a cumulus, I want to say.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have more cloud knowledge than I anticipated.
Yeah, I don't know where I got that, but I did
From elementary school, dude. It's grade 5, grade 6.
No, maybe.
But it is very cool.
On
On that panel you bring up, there are 3 different layers of clouds. Although, actually, is that foreground cloud? Is that a cloud? Because
it's going over her. I think it's supposed to be mist. I think it's supposed to be mist over that the ship is kind of sailing into. Because that's kind of what's going on, right? Is there's this fogginess, there's this kind of like mists of time feel to what's going on.
Yeah. Actually, could you go back one page? Because I just wanted to comment on the page on the left, the bottom left panel. It seems to me that young Rob Liefeld looked at this and studied it and took a lot of the rendering from this, because you get like
the way the figures are all like stacked.
That's good.
Well, I'm just talking about the line work on Namor. If you look up close, you can see how the lines sometimes have parallel lines alongside each. Like, I guess like as you're inking, you kind of like ink and then ink over it again, so you get these like parallel lines, and then you also get rows of little lines that indicate roundness,
like this sort of.
Yeah, and like Rob Liefeld added that to his arsenal, and it is so interesting that you get this like artist Mike Mignola, and then you get like a more mainstream artist like Rob Liefeld, and like on 2 different sides of the spectrum, but you see a crossover there where like Rob Liefeld was clearly studying Mignola's stuff.
Yeah, you'd have to, right? Yeah.
But you study the best, right?
That's right, so that you can affect atmosphere like this.
And he's one of the best at atmosphere, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
In all of comics.
And it's not just like it's not just the spookiness, but I also like this kind of closed intimacy that is depicted here. Like
Yeah.
how often in a 1988 comic are you seeing like these two just got finished fucking and they are like they're completely comfortable with each other
Mike
in this
Mignola did
state.
stuff like that in Daredevil and Wolverine, no?
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
it's
true.
funny that
Yeah,
you
it's like
compare it
it
because
I
that's
guess it is
that
starting
stuff he
to come
adopted it.
more into it, isn't it? Yeah.
That top left panel, like it looks like he could have developed that as like a painting of some kind, some sort of fantasy painting.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, kind of like the silks of of her tent or something. The detail I love here is his briefs just
Yeah.
hanging off, like just so we're all clear on what's going on. But I think that goes to Eric what you were saying about like the layering, right? Like it's got huge windows. Where is that?
And
Well,
it's
it's
a
gonna
flat
be
view of the windows. Yeah.
yeah, so it's going to be like, well, she's the captain of this ship. This is her private quarters. You've got all of the stuff around them, like their pirate hall, all of their stuff, and then to have stuff in front of like, yeah, they've been drinking, briefs are off. Uh, this is a couple having a great time.
And like you would get in like a fantasy painting, just a lot of thought put into everything that would fill that room.
Yeah,
And you don't always get artists just like thinking about filling a room with
yeah.
stuff, just like putting that amount of I think like when we talk about detail in comics, for some reason the majority of people think about like the lines on a figure or the lines on a face, but like this is detailed in terms of like the information he's providing, the what he's filling a room with, and just how much thought he's put into this pirate world,
This
right?
is definitely something that you. This is a lesson I've taken from you. Yeah, is like make it an interesting space. Make what's in it like don't make it boring looking. Don't make every line straight. Don't make the thing that sticks out is when we're going over the pages that you took a look at for me. Why are all these books the same height? Why are they all the same depth and width? Why do they all look the exact same on this boring looking shelf? Like, yeah, put interest into that's the kind of detail you're talking about, right? Of
Yeah,
just like
definitely.
put stuff that would fill this room and give it character and also be interesting to look at.
And it is interesting because like Mignola frequently talks of like the way he talks is that there's a lot of things he does not want to draw,
Yeah.
and usually artists aren't enthusiastic about drawing backgrounds, but I mean, I'm sure he's very enthusiastic about drawing pirate stuff and swords and old timey lanterns and stuff. So this might not apply, but like, despite the fact that he's one of those guys that like does not want to draw a ton of backgrounds, like he's putting in the work and he's making it look interesting. And any artist can do that if you just like put in the effort, right?
And it also allows him to he just has to do this once, right? Look at all the stuff
Yeah,
that's in here and then immediately punch in closer to these two and have just drop everything out so that well we know where they are, but now we can focus on the two of them, their relationship, what this posing means, what the mode of dress or lack thereof means, what's been going on, and why they can be why they can be this close, why they can talk about what they're talking about. Because it's a profession of love between the two of them, and it's the sort of thing that well you have to kind of build this before you can get to that, and
yeah,
then
definitely.
and then he can just kind of like all right so anyway there's some you remember those drapes, here's the windows, but that's not really the point. The point is a token of love perhaps.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, and then drop detail out for all of this, right?
I love that fog effect.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. I'm gonna bring it actually closer to the camera just so you can see because I don't know what's going on here, how it's been achieved. It's almost like, is this Ben-Day dots or
Oh,
screen tone?
It might be screen
oh,
tone scratched
that would
out.
be a screen tone of the white dots.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's like, so what do you think? He's taken the ink, he or I guess P. Craig Russell has lain it down and then scraped it off.
Yeah.
Or no, I think. Oh, I'm not sure, but I suspect that like it is white dot screen tones.
It is, yeah,
Photo.
because it's black with, well, some of it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is that working together, Mignola and P. Craig Russell achieved this very ethereal effect. Well, actually, and let's not forget Petra Scotese, the colorist, who
Yeah.
might
It's easy.
be Scotese, yeah, who might also be Petra Goldberg, who was a colorist in the 70s,
Oh, okay.
just based on the
That yeah. The first
that
name.
distinctive name. Yeah, that distinctive first name. But it continues on, right? Like, ooh, like that's something I feel like you would see in the very first Hellboy is this fog kind of eating up this ship.
Yeah, it's very very atmospheric, very cool looking.
And then the sad realization of what's been going on of, oh, I traveled through time and she's gone, and
Yeah, he ate some bad mushrooms.
yeah,
Bad
like
seaweed.
something.
Yeah, had some bad seaweed.
Yeah, just had something went on.
This was a really pretty story. P. Craig Russell's a fantastic inker on his stuff. Even if he did maybe do more, since he's listed as an embellisher, maybe he did more of the work. But this one was really good.
Yeah, like look at that. Look at the framing on this.
That final
right?
panel is a beauty
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, just like what a punch in the gut of, oh, and I can't do anything about this now. Like
Yeah.
all he has is what he just had. There is nothing more for him in this storyline. It's gone. It's and it's bizarrely kind of like, I don't know. This is not going to come back up, right? I don't think anybody has referenced this sad story about former pirate king Namor and his dead pirate queen ever again.
I
But
don't think anyone
goddamn,
revisited this story. No, it's a Bill
no,
Mantlo story, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
What are you implying, Colin?
Hey, keep it in if you want, but I'm just saying.
not a fan of Bill. But
Bill Mantlow's a controversial figure in comics.
what is controversial about him
He's
exactly?
passed away, right?
No, I think
he's trapped in a state of perpetual.
I think he was in a car accident and
Yeah. Well, he was like roller skating, like so.
oh, a car hit him. Oh,
Yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah.
brutal.
I know, right? Yeah. So he's been in like constant care since the mid '90s.
Harlan Ellison nearly sued Marvel Comics over a Bill Mantlo Hulk story.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And but Harlan Ellison didn't sue on the agreement that he would get a subscription of free Marvel Comics for life.
Oh,
so
wow. You would think he would find this a puerile, childish art form or something.
oh no, Harlan Ellison has written a bunch of comics. He wrote some Marvel comics as well.
Yeah, he did write a Star Trek episode too. So
yeah,
so,
I think he just loved all
proud.
sci-fi stuff. But Bill Mantlo also had the issue 312 was a big controversy where
right before this.
Yeah, the issue before this, Barry Windsor Smith has alleged that Bill Mantlo plagiarized that from his from Barry Windsor Smith's Hulk pitch. So there's a lot of plagiarism allegations, and that's the thing with Bill Mantlo was he was a company man who met his deadlines.
Yeah.
Because you do whatever you can to meet those deadlines, and sometimes you probably maybe have to steal
Well, and I mean, there's only so many combinations of events. It's kind of like music, right? Like, there's only so many things that the human brain will recognize as a story, right? Like, it's not it's not like people are saying Speed is plagiarizing Die Hard. It's like they're just kind of both doing the same thing.
Yeah, sometimes it's up to interpretation, and
Yeah,
also, to be fair, sometimes you steal and you don't even realize. Like
yeah, you read
comedians
something.
do it all the time. They'll
Yeah,
get up and tell a joke, and they realize later on, oh crap, I heard that joke from another comedian like 3 years ago, and oftentimes it's very innocent. Like, you know, uh, how good is your memory? Like, you're
awful.
you're consuming media all day, and sometimes you come up with an idea and you don't even realize you've been influenced by
Yeah,
someone else.
yeah. You don't know where it came from. You just know that's good. I can use that, especially under the time crunch of a corporate deadline.
Yeah, like I come up with cover ideas for stuff, and then I sometimes I get paranoid. Like,
This is too good of an idea. What's happening here?
yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Oh,
but
you're skipping Rocket Raccoon.
oh, is that the next one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought Rocket Raccoon was the next one. Okay, Rocket Raccoon.
Oh shoot. Before this is actually Marvel superheroes.
Is it?
Yeah. Because he
Oh,
talked.
okay.
I have a quote
Oh, okay.
which
Great.
I brought up in the last shoot. Yeah, he said. So here's the quote: "There was the Namor story with the horse, which was the very first story I ever drew. And then they said, 'Would you like to do this miniseries? It's funny animals.' And I felt I could probably do that. I couldn't draw regular superheroes because I had such a hard time with the Vision and Scarlet Witch job. Drawing
Mm,
people was really difficult. So I said I could probably do Rocket Raccoon for whatever it's worth. I did it. It was kind of fun, actually. So it's not entirely clear. It sounds like he's saying that the Vision and Scarlet Witch job came before Rocket Raccoon.
it sure does. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if. Yeah, it's hard to tell because it's also like Armando Gil inker. Like when would you? Although I will say they do specify like this takes place before. This takes prior to the events of Vision and Scarlet Witch Volume 2. So it does seem like, okay, well, we produced this with the idea of an earlier series, but that's started now.
Well,
So,
also, like 3 or 4 pages in, there's an asterisk that basically
yeah.
says that Marvel Fanfare number 58.
Hmm.
So this, it feels like Bill Mantlo had a regular Marvel Fanfare feature with Vision and Scarlet Witch, and this was just like maybe the third or fourth part in it, and Mike Mignola jumps in. I
Right.
should say that Marvel Superheroes came out, like this comic came out in 1992. It says summer 1992, and Marvel
Mhm.
Fanfare number 58 came out like early 1992, and then Marvel Fanfare was canceled with number 60.
Oh,
So
okay.
it seems like they like, and we should say that this Marvel Superheroes is like has a spine. It's very thick and has uh, how many, like 4 or 5 stories. So I think
Yeah, there's like
I'm
four
guessing
stories.
Marvel Fanfare was canceled, and then they created this comic to just dump the last of the inventory stories in.
Yeah, because there's like previous issue 57 for then 58, and then uh, the Vision and Scarlet Witch story is directly continued in this. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so interesting stuff. So it is interesting to point out, like, this is probably Mike Mignola's second gig as penciler, but it took almost 10 years to be. It was put in a drawer somewhere, and it wasn't until 1992 that it came out.
Yeah, which makes sense because I know that during the Jim Shooter era, one of the things that he came in with was we're done with reprints or inventory stories. Like, this is because Marvel for the longest time had been operating on like, well, we got the slush pile in case somebody misses a deadline, which they always did, especially the whole cadre of writer editors who had become their own bosses in the 70s. And when Shooter comes in, he's like, no, this is over. Like, we are continuing these stories nonstop. You're hitting the deadline or you're done.
Yeah, they were
And
like printer fines for missing
yeah,
deadlines, and he was looking
yeah,
at like
he was done
stacks of
with
fines, being like, "What the?"
Yeah, so they had, they had a huge, they had inventory stories in case of that, but even then, it's not like they had enough to avoid all those fines. But I think that's this is what it was, is they had, like, this is from the early 80s, before he really got those trains running on time, and we got to use it somehow. Which, especially with kind of his I would think his rising star in 1992, because
Well, I don't think he was ever really a star.
no,
I recently
but
saw an interview where he was talking about how in the early '90s there were some artists that were making millions, and then he was drawing like Iron Wolf, like.
Yeah, like this is for those at home. This is Iron Wolf. Fires of the Revolution, a fucking rad title that he
An
is.
original graphic novel.
Yeah,
in 1992.
That he is doing in 1992, and like this is.
It's like some prime Mignola, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we are. I definitely want to do an episode on this.
This along with Fawford and Jungle Adventure, like this type of
Yeah, yeah.
the aesthetic of
'Cause
it,
it's
like, yeah.
like, look at this. But as we will see, that is not.
That's a 1992 Mignola, and so
That is not what this is.
this comic is coming out around that same time, which is not the same Mignola, right?
No. Colin, could you talk about Barry Windsor Smith and or
You mean Bernie Wrightson?
Bernie Wrightson? Yeah, just
Right.
like, because this feels, as you've brought up
The
previously,
most
this feels like what he's going
Wrightsonist of them all. This and
Yeah.
the very first, is it the first Namor story? Yeah, the first Namor story where the horse becomes a seahorse slave.
Mhm.
The inking and the overall texture. I keep coming to the word aesthetic. Is aesthetic the word when you're defining texture and that sort of thing? Like
I think so.
the hatch lines and the grass and just like all the leaves
Yeah.
and foliage. Same with the waves in the ocean and that sort of thing. Is like it's very Wrightson-esque. He inked himself though on that Namor story, so maybe that was really what he was going for. But here it's inked by what's his name?
Armando Gil.
Yeah, Armando Gil. So like,
What a great name.
but overall the drawing, like you take that. So what comes to mind as soon as I look at this page is on page 2, the vision on panel 3, like right in the middle of the page.
Yeah.
Like he's left so much of that up that he would have intended to ink it in that kind of ghostly effect that Wrightson's done in Frankenstein. What is it like? It's like a scratchboard type of look, right?
Yeah.
My mind immediately goes to Wrightson as soon as I see something like that.
Well, especially the like zombie hand, because Wrightson is known for Swamp Thing, right?
Yeah,
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, it feels very like it's if he's not using, I mean, he's not using a scratch board. That'd be cool if he did. But I get what you mean. Yeah, like he's like it's carved.
Yeah,
like
carved, wood carved.
Yeah, because you're right. It's a very ethereal, ghostly feel to the vision, which is not something that is displayed a lot, but it is one of his powers.
Part of his character, right?
Yeah, that he's like, intangibility. It's something I do all the time. And
also, though, like his anatomy, his overall human anatomy, like it's the way he defines it is very reminiscent of Wrightson as well, especially with like the faces too. Like the eyes are more deep set in the faces.
Like her eyes are here. That's so much more rendering, and like there's like, you're right, like deep set, like they're kind of peering out from under from within the skull rather than kind of like
they're
sitting
they're
atop.
actually sitting in a socket, right?
Yeah. That's a great way of saying it. Yeah, because how many of us have just kind of slapped eyes onto a face shape before we really
I
learned
did
that,
it just
like,
before we logged on.
I mean, we all do it sometimes. Yeah, because the concept of like it's a ball inside a socket and then covered with more material. God, there's so much going on with goddamn eyes.
It's just so fascinating that Mignola was saying that he couldn't draw people, and yet he's thinking in 3 dimensions here, isn't he?
Yeah, but I can see why he's not particularly fond of this.
Well, I guess
I
when it comes
think
to the crowd shots, maybe that's what he's referring to. Like,
I,
because
when
later on in this,
I'm thinking more along like the middle of this torso here. It's like that's not quite right.
I mean, I wouldn't nitpick that. It looks great.
Yeah, it does. I like it a lot. This is my favorite story of everything we're going to look at today. So
But
that
think of
specific
yourself
splash
as
page
Mignola.
actually is a beauty.
The which one?
I'm sure Mignola is horrified
yeah.
looking at this stuff, as most
Yeah.
artists are when looking at their early work. Like
That's my thought.
we suspect that
Is
this is his second gig, right? And like,
yeah, like if this is you remembering it and you look at it going like, ugh, why would I do that? God, there's so much abdominal core.
yeah, but this is stunning. Like
It is, yeah, and it's the first. I think it's the first appearance of every single other cemetery we're going to see from him going
it's a trope of
forward.
his, right?
Yeah, well, it's actually, and it's based on a cemetery that was near his childhood home that he still like that around this time moving back to California, he and his buddy who is the creator of Sam and Max? Freelance Police.
Steve Pixar. Purcell.
Yeah, Steve Purcell. Yeah. He and Steve Purcell were hanging out a lot in when he returned to California, to the point that Steve Purcell was like, yeah, I became an honorary Mignola brother because it was Mike, his brothers, and Steve all hanging out. And I guess for whatever reason, there was a cemetery close to them that they would go and hang out in because it's more like a park and everything is so old that it's not that creepy, but all of the headstones, because it's so old, were at like these canted angles all over the place, and that's what he's been drawing on all this time, like all the way up to Hellboy and Hell, when you see various crypts and stuff in the Rings of Hell.
Formative years for him.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he talks about it like, this is kind of a great time. Like it's like living in a sitcom. You're living. You're living in the same building as your friend. You and everybody you know are constantly hanging out. Your entire job is just draw stuff. So when you don't have anything to draw, let's go hang out at the movies. Let's get a drink. Let's just, live the life of leisure of a barely paid enough artist. Which in Southern California, yeah, I can't knock. That sounds pretty great. But I do like his anatomical work here, though. I do think this pose and this one particularly are like, yeah, okay, he's trying to really channel a Frazetta feel here.
Well, there's also like a really pretty Scarlet Witch face coming up too, that again with the eyes deep set in the socket, like
is it that
really
one?
No, like towards the end, I think the second to last page, or third to last page.
Well, then we shall get there.
Where it says, because they are afraid to face the Inquisitors. That giant word.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But
I was going to say there's a lot of great montage pages. There's a lot of great montage panels and pages all throughout this story.
Yeah, kind of recounting her history.
Yeah, which he's really good at doing this stuff, which I don't know, he's not really known for his montage panels, is he?
I think you could argue that that's kind of what his his cover work is, especially
Right.
later as he goes.
Yeah.
He's just kind of trying to encapsulate an entire issue or collection with a single image. So I think
I
the way
like
he
how
structured
Louis put it. Louis said they were diorama-like. Louis
yes,
Joyce.
Yeah.
yes. Shout out to Louis Joyce, a fan and friend of the show, and
Brother
all
from
three of
down
us
under.
now. Sorry, what was that?
Our brother from down under.
That's right. Yes. This is a great, like, kind of catch you up on, what is the deal with Vision and Scarlet Witch here? They're like, she is a villain, she isn't a villain. What's happening?
Way too much text on the page, like
Oh my
ruining
god. Yeah.
Yeah,
these
maybe Melrose
beautiful
being paid by the word.
montages.
I really like this one, sticks out to me. This lower
Yeah, great
last
lighting.
panel. Yeah. Oh, and I see what you mean here, Colin, by like more deep set eyes. We'll get to the one you're thinking of, but he is starting to think in terms of like drawing on his art school stuff. He's really pushing expressions. Like, this almost feels Vertigo-esque at this point.
Yeah, that Swamp Thing, right?
Yeah. This is a great shot too, because the use of circles as magic. I feel like that's going to be something that he comes back to.
Oh, really?
I think so. Later on, yeah. Just kind of like the general effect of like something is going on. Hopefully, by the time we get to that, I will have remembered this. Or when we don't see it, we have all forgotten that I've brought this up. One of the two.
Man, that ghoul. That's Bernie Wrightson right there, right?
Oh yeah.
Which on the Bernie Wrightson thing, Mignola has said that there's this famous Bernie Wrightson book called A Look Back that I think Mignola studied cover to cover.
That makes sense. Yeah. Because like we said, this is him trying to figure out what his art style is.
He's trying to be a mainstream guy, right?
Yeah, trying to be a mainstream guy. There's really only superhero work at this point, so better figure that out.
And he is not a mainstream guy. Like,
no, he's a monster guy, right? He's a monster.
And more than that, like, he's an artist, right? He's not. I think Hellboy does have mass appeal, but for the most part, like,
it's kind of the like. Yeah, 4 movies, animated TV shows. We talked about this in our episode with Louis, but it's a lot more mainstream than I think he thinks it is.
Yeah, I mean, because we know the name Hellboy, it's normal to us. But like, it doesn't sound ridiculous, but it is a ridiculous name. Just because we're used to it, it doesn't have that ridiculous tone. But Hellboy.
That's true. Yeah, the Mignola documentary is on YouTube. It is area specific, but whatever. But it is on YouTube, and you can watch it for free. You just got to put up with ads, which is fine. And he does talk about the name Hellboy was just kind of like a silly little thing that he put into a belt buckle in the very first sketch of the character. Because he just thought, that's funny. Hellboy. And now...
Who could have known?
Yeah.
The long history that would come of that.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk more about it when we get to Hellboy stuff in later episodes. But it's not just Mignola that launches from it. It's also Del Toro. Like, Hellboy has a huge effect on Del Toro as well. I like this. This weird little,
I
don't know,
vortex thing.
Yeah, it's something. A pillar of power, as she calls it. But I do feel like this is him leaning into his, like, okay, well, if I got to draw real stuff, I might as well make it, like, kind of lean into what I am good at. So, like, this sort of stuff, that's great. He's trying to do atmosphere. I think it's kind of more difficult with a lot more people, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's very cool looking.
Yeah. And then, okay, is this what you're?
That's the
This is
one
what
there,
you're
the
talking about?
bottom. Yeah, the bottom right corner on that second page is that's the one.
Yeah, yeah. It's well realized, and
And again, I think Bill Mantlo is setting him up for success by
yeah,
giving him opportunities to draw stuff like this.
yeah. Because like, who would have thought to make this like I would have made this the whole page, but then he kind of like crops it of so that this pops unto itself. Like,
Well,
I don't
isn't
know.
that a trope of his work? Especially, you see a lot of in Hellboy. You see a lot of I don't know, cutting away to a reaction shot,
Yep, that
or
or a mood shot. Like you'll just
yeah,
have kind of inset panels of like, here's a guy wearing a tuxedo and he has a skull for a head.
yeah, just kind of looking around the room, basically.
Yeah. Oh, also, like, how rad is that?
Oh man,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
yeah, like this is in his wheelhouse, which is it's interesting that he doesn't talk very proudly of this work, but yeah, I don't know.
I wonder too if part of it is just like the memories associated with it. Like he feels like this went terribly. I was sweating bullets over it.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to do your first, but then your second, it's like, well, if I screw this up, I'm definitely not coming back. Like especially knowing. The first his first inking gig went so terribly he had to redo his portfolio essentially. So he knows that a second gig does not necessarily mean, or no, a single gig does not necessarily mean that he is in, right?
That he's made.
That's a lesson that a lot of artists have to learn. Is
Yeah.
A lot. It's a very common story to think that you got your foot in the door and now it's easy street, but getting that second gig is almost just as hard.
Tell me about it.
I want to speak to actually the character design of Vision and Scarlet Witch. Was it John Buscema who designed these costumes for them?
I think it is, yeah, because it is the early days
They're
of.
such really nice complementary characters, and they really lead you nicely through the story. Like him with his green and yellow, and he's got a little bit of red on his face, and that's really complementary to her. Like, was that pink and purple? No, pink and red.
Pink and red, yeah, yeah, because they're good call. They're inverse of each other, and it's almost I would suspect it's actually accidental, but yeah, like the red face
the Scarlet Witch is a Kirby design.
Ties him into her. Yeah, I mean, this has been refined by I think Buscema or Perez,
Okay.
because it used to be like a full like she had it wasn't like a crown like she has now.
It was like
in
a
this.
Kirby headdress.
Yeah, it was like it went all the way around, like it was this kind of plastic mane that she had almost. There's kind of no explanation for what it was, but this is more crown-like, more
tiara-like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's literally
exactly.
It's a tiara, right?
Yeah, yeah. Which they've like adapted into the MCU now, but it took so long for them to kind of like edge up to that. Like, what is this going to be?
Just give her a long leather jacket.
Yeah, that's
Let's
what.
Start
that's
and
what
a corset. Like. We'll start there, and then
yeah.
Now she can have a kid. Yeah.
That's what's conducive for magic.
Yeah.
Saving the world through magic. I do really like this whole because you don't see this layout very often. Stack, and then the long one. This is dangerous to do. I've learned.
Risky.
Well, that's called left-hand panel stacking, which is kind of a no-no in comics.
Yeah, which is and like I think one of the things we're learning throughout this entire show is rules can be broken if you know how to do it.
Yeah.
And I think what he's done here, I was going to ask, do you think these are supposed to be the same space?
Well, like, what do you mean? Oh, as in, like, those two are basically the same panel, but it's just divided?
Yeah, cut by time. I don't know, especially just because of this and
I'd more towards no than yes.
Yeah,
because
that little hill of grass that she's standing off of
Yeah.
in the bottom corner, it clashes with the left panel.
Yeah. It's that made me question it, right? But when I first read it, my immediate thought was, oh, this is just the same space bifurcated by time, right? First he acts, then she does. But you make a good point that the geography doesn't quite match up. But I do think that it's still operating in a way that, like, yeah, you shouldn't do left-hand panel stacking, but he still manages to make it work.
Well, and I think the letterer saves it as well.
That's true.
I think the letterer can save a lot of, like, whenever you break these rules,
Yeah.
because your eyes are being led by the lettering, basically, by the word balloons and text boxes.
Well, and this. What were you going to say, Colin?
I was just going to say, like, your testament to that Mignola can draw beautiful women. Obviously, he's been doing it this whole story. So
right, yeah. I would suspect in his mind there's a lot more anxiety that goes along with, like, his memory is a lot more anxious when it comes to thinking about making this, right? Like, because the human brain, you just hold on to anxiety. It's just the way our brains were made for living in bands of 150 people with lions everywhere. So when you think back to your artistic pursuits, I can definitely see him thinking, "Oh God, yeah, that was a terrible one." Just because overall the experience wasn't great, but
it's also possible. It is possible that Armando Gil made some adjustments, but we don't know. It's something we'll
that's
probably
true.
never know.
Well, Mike, if you're watching this, let us know. What do you think?
We're huge fans, and we would love to know the details of all this stuff.
Yeah.
That would be a dream.
Right?
That would be a dream. You're making me
let us
it up
know.
a little more straighter.
Oh, is Mr. Mignola watching
so
us now?
Tell me there's a chance.
But as time goes by, it's just kind of a it kind of just ends, though, right? Like, there's no, we just kind of shoot all of them, and we work together, and explosions in the sky. The ghosts come out of the Ark of the Covenant and melt all the Nazis, and we're done.
Yeah.
Don't look at it.
Yeah, where in the name of heaven is our home? The search continues, I suppose.
The ever continuing melodrama of these Marvel Comics characters.
Yeah, and then after that is a Namor issue that we won't go into because this is a Mignola episode.
On the subject of Namor, I forgot to bring up that I read an interview where he at one point did develop a Submariner graphic novel. Like, he came up with the idea for it.
What?
And then it was sort of scrapped, and that was sort of the beginning of him wanting to walk away from Marvel.
I could, yeah.
And then, like, the oppressive Jim Shooter storytelling demands cemented it, and he ran away to First Comics. But that's maybe we should talk about that later, because we're still in his Marvel Comics era with this Rocket Raccoon. I guess with this comic, as stated before with that quote, he basically was saying, I can't draw people. It's like I'm just not suited for this. And they basically, I guess they told him, this is a animal comic. This is just like talking animals.
Funny animal comic.
You can do this. And then I think he looks back as this was a fun project.
Yeah.
This is actually the most unlike him that I've of any of his stuff that I've ever read.
Yeah,
I get that. Yeah,
actually,
it's so wacky, right?
Yeah,
like, not to get off topic, but when we started this show, I was really headstrong in saying, like, oh, let's just cover this comic or that comic. But I really do appreciate that, like, Eric wants to take the idea of going through an entire career and seeing the actual evolution, like having to sit through even the dry stuff or eat the vegetables of this person's career rather than just jump to Hellboy, or jump to like Battle Chasers or whatever we're going to be covering. If you're going to, the way we're doing it, especially with Barry Windsor Smith, like his horror stuff, that episode especially, like I really, really dove into that because I didn't know any of that stuff. And a lot of it was not anything like he became, rather, right? And in this
It's fun to see artists evolve, right?
well,
Yeah.
yeah, again, like going back to this Rocket Raccoon comic, I was flipping through this. I'm like, this is not anything like this is completely unrecognizable, right?
It really isn't like, because everything feels a lot more, a lot softer.
Well, it's
Like,
also a separate
when I first saw
wheelhouse for
this,
him, like that he
yeah,
can do something like this, right?
yeah, and there's a roundness to everything. There's a lack of angles in the designs that I'm just like, wow, this is so much more cartoony than you expect from him.
Mm.
And just like overtly funny, like
Yeah.
Hellboy has humor to it,
It does,
but
more than you'd
it's
think.
not,
Yeah,
it's not like wacky like this comic is.
no, it's because even like the beginning, Space Wheel, a division of Divinities Inc., and then just like a bunch of toys and Sinister
man.
Clown, and
I again with the layering, like
yeah.
I love how you get the ship window as a foreground element, and then you get more foreground elements, and then you get our main figure as sort of midground, and then you get in the far background this figure, the villainous figure, and it's very atmospheric.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Sometimes artists get a lot of heat for the not drawing feet, but like that just adds to the atmosphere as the legs sort of taper off.
I love that tapering off look. I love the hatching that leads into the mist. Yeah,
yeah. When it's done well,
I was doing that a lot in my teenage years.
Yeah, and not to avoid drawing feet, but just because it looked cool, right?
Dust cloud, just they're standing in dust clouds all the time, everywhere.
Yep. In this lab, in a space station, there's dust clouds everywhere. Actually, this might be the most kind of tilted angle that we really see. Like it's a low angle of this guy. We're seeing it from Doc Lizard. Yeah, and we're seeing it from closer to the Lizard guy's perspective, so it's like it's down on the ground with him.
Yeah.
So
the second page there, the bottom left panel, the clown jumping over the crowd there, that's really giving me like that, taking me back to like Frank Quietly or Winsor McCay, the way they command open space like that, and having characters like the way he might be standing on stilts even, but he's hopping over that, the way that he's hopping over that crowd. It's like it's giving me those vibes.
Right on. Yeah. I get what you mean. It's there's this kind of capturing of the pose that he's in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like there's this space around him and he's inhabiting it, but he's not consuming that space. It's kind of holding him.
The way he draws floating figures in like that Namor story, for example, or just like in his Hellboy work in general, when Hellboy's jumping to punch somebody or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, this is not like that, right?
No.
He's mastered it another way, but he's showing that he can do it this way too.
Absolutely. The his mid jump posing, some of the best out there. Really, just
the best out there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. There's so much more though that like, Colin, when you say like this isn't the best in terms of like story reading experience.
Yeah.
Although I did want to bring up this because
I said something else before we started filming.
Well, I did want to bring up this though, just because remember everyone out there, if you're an artist, you need to really build up your core. That's not just the front, that's the back. And if you need a consultation, our man Colin is an expert in that. So make sure to contact him for consultation.
First consultation free.
There you go.
Yeah. Thanks, Ben.
Well, I realized we hadn't done it in a while, and I was like, no. We gotta start moving numbers here. Come on. But then to see Rocket Raccoon in his like earliest, or one of his earliest forms. What is going on here?
Yeah.
It's so weird to see.
It's funny, before Guardians of the Galaxy, like this was a forgotten character.
Yeah.
I think he was brought back for the Guardians of the Galaxy comic in the late 2000s, but there was
2008. Yeah,
there was almost
Atlantic
2
stuff.
decades of obscurity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's weird to see too, because we're so at least I'm way more familiar with the character through the movies and its related material, like what it's pulling on and what was produced after it because of the Guardians movie success, that I didn't know, like, no, he's got like this sly otter girlfriend just bare ass out there, and completely fine, because she's just an otter. She's an anatomically correct otter.
Which
it's the sort of thing you don't think about. Like, no, there's a bunch of talking animals that he's around.
And we should say that, like, on this page it says created by Bill Mantlo and Keith Giffen, right? Because all these characters come from a Hulk issue that Bill Mantlo wrote, and I guess Keith Giffen drew.
So my research is showing he actually shows up for the first time. Marvel Preview number 7.
Oh, okay.
The backup, The Sword in the Star, with Prince Wayfinder, featuring the debut of Rocket Raccoon.
Oh, I thought it was a Hulk comic.
It's a backup. He was called Rocky. In this appearance, the character spoke using stock British English phrases such as bloody well, old bean, jolly good, etc., which did not continue in later appearances. He next appeared in The Incredible Hulk 271, where it is learned that Rocky is short for Rocket.
Rocky Raccoon, British Rocky Raccoon. Does that remind you of a British pop song at all? Got to think about that one.
Something, yeah. It's get in the comments. Let us know. Yeah, it's kind of just it really is a funny animal story of just like wackiness ensues. Look, I gave you loonies these uniforms so that you could play at being policemen. So he just has this like army of fake British police officers, kind of, that he's in charge of somehow.
Yeah, I love how the guy who's crashed through the car is still saluting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good physical
comedy stuff in this, yeah. Also, that face on the next panel is really funny looking. I love it. It really plays into the. I guess this is almost satirical. I guess.
I think so.
Or is it just Looney Tunes? Like, I don't know. It's a fine. There's some sort of line there, I guess.
Yeah. It's interesting that he doesn't continue on with this more cartoony version, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not in his wheelhouse,
I guess, but he seems to have had a good time producing this, and
all these are gigs, I'd imagine.
That's true.
Like, none of this stuff he would have like chosen to do if it was, if it was 100% up to him. I'm sure. Like, Hellboy is the thing that he chose to do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if he had wanted to do a funny animal book in 1994, he would have done that instead. But what he wanted was Paranormal Investigator as a demon. But for what he does produce, like, I think this is kind of the closest that he gets to being able to do Frazetta-like stuff at points. Like, this feels Frazetta-esque. Right.
And again, like, here we have like 6 layers of information. Like, there's so much going on. There's even the ship like going around all the various layers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very cool. This is the stuff I'm taking and want to adapt into my own work, right? his great
like,
compositions and his how he fills the page, and again with these layers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like this could have been just a hill that he has this rat with a gun stand on, but it's actually the discarded bodies of a bunch of busted up robots that presumably that rat caused.
Yeah, like that rat's got a full story, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That's the only time we see that rat.
So. Yeah, exactly.
There's like a lot of thought put into this stuff.
Yeah. And I don't know. This feels very kind of like she feels very Star Wars-esque. There's a lot of fun sci-fi tech that you don't really see him do later on. When I think of like the tech that you see in Hellboy, it's a lot of cathode ray tubes and oscilloscopes and stuff, like very 40s tech.
Yeah. Which you might get a little bit of that in the next page with that, like all those meters and those pipes and stuff. A little bit.
Yeah. But it's still. He is adapting to the fact that like, well, Rocket is a space-based animal. This is a sci-fi thing. So
Mignola's brand of sci-fi is monsters, not aliens.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, in the back of this comic, you get a Bill Sienkiewicz drawing of the entire creative team, which is pretty fun.
Who's responsible for all of this?
Is that him at the bottom?
Yeah, I believe the lower left. Yeah,
I think that because those are the glasses that I've seen him the most in like old pictures. Yeah, and the hair that I'm rocking, the hairline that I'm rocking as well, just like the slow pullback on the sides. Yeah, this might actually be the closest I recognize Rocket Raccoon, like to what he will become, of like angry actual raccoon.
Yeah.
But everything else, I don't know. It's interesting to see that he is capable of a lot of this, but it's also notable that this is not a style he continued with.
Yeah.
Like presumably he is capable of doing this, but it's just not for him.
Yeah, again, it was just a gig, but I do believe I think he's classified it as a fun gig. But, if I recall correctly from what I've read. But and we don't have the issues 2, 3, and 4. This is just like we're just doing a quick look at what we have, because he did the entire 4 issues. But But I didn't anticipate this episode would go on so long. Do you guys want to break this up into 2? And so this would be, let's say this is the end of part 1, and we'll continue looking at more of his Marvel work.
As a preview for what's coming up next.
Yeah, because after Marvel he runs off to First Comics. So next week we'll look at the rest of this stuff.
I think this is a good ending point though, because we then shift to like, what is he good at? What is his thing? Monsters.
Right on. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Cool.